All right, Lisa, we are live.
Hey.
The much anticipated podcast is here.
Living my dream.
Yeah, that's it. There it is. We're going to get, by the end of this show, you're either going to want to have your own podcast or never going to want to hear about a podcast.
I don't know. What else do I do on my train commute, right? I listen to my podcast, so.
That's right. You're a big podcast listener. Yeah, me too. Although this morning, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but when I got in the car, it was on like the news radio station. And it felt so retro to me. I'm like, I'm just going to let this ride for a little bit. It's kind of nice.
That's funny. I did actually listen to news radio last Friday because we were having big storms here. And so they do the weather every 8 minutes. So I'm like, this is perfect. And then you're hearing the same stories over and over again. I'm like, it's okay. I already heard that headline,
Yeah. I remember I always used to think like traffic is so great. Now I know where to go. But now I feel like I'm so reliant on Waze. And I just I don't know what they're talking about. Like, it takes me more time to look. Okay, wait, am I on the north side?
Exactly.
South side? Where am I going? So, slave to the robots. But we're talking about the National Restaurant Association show. So you've been involved with the show for quite some time.
I joined the team that produces the show back in October of 2008. 2008. 2008. 2008. I started working on the International Wine, Spirits, and Beer event, which was a specific product that we had geared towards bar programs. But yeah, I can't believe I worked for the show this long. I've seen it go through a lot of evolution over the years, and just really proud of the work our team's done to hopefully keep it fresh and relevant for all the people that come to the show, both our exhibitors and attendees, to really improve their businesses. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. The show's over 100 years old. So how do you take a trade show that's just been around forever and keep it relevant to the people that are out in the restaurant industry every day? So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we celebrated our 100th show in 2019. So it had gone for 100 consecutive years, which made the cancellations of 2020 and 2021 all the more painful, because you're like, we made it through. It actually started in 1919, so it was sort of born out of the flu pandemic that happened back then, and there was also an egg crisis happening at the time, which seems kind of strange since we just went through that a little bit with the price of eggs. So it was really interesting, that arc. But yeah, so we came back in 2022, I think, with a bang, and just really excited about how that event went after being gone for a couple of years, and looking forward to producing our 102nd version of the show coming up in about 2 months.
That's great. So it's always been in Chicago?
Not always. It's been in Chicago since consecutively since the 60s. Before that, when it was a little bit smaller, it could travel a little bit. Now Chicago is actually one of the only cities that could fit into because of the size and scope of it. So, and Chicago is a great town for the restaurant show. I mean, we have such fabulous restaurants and bars and hotels, and just kind of like all the hospitality industry and the scope of that here. So it's a really great location for the show. But yeah, it used to. I think we have a wall here in our offices. You can't see it. I'm actually where I'm at right now is a bunch of magazine covers, but we have a similar wall over where our exhibitions team sits, which is all the show guide covers from over the years. And so it's really, to see that snapshot of history, to be able to kind of look at it and be like, oh, in 1950, they had I remember because it was like 1950, and it's a school teacher that says modernize, mechanize, and like the different, whatever, like the industry was going through at the time, probably with conveyor belts and different, equipment that was happening back then. So it's really cool to be able to see that history. And then you can kind of see when we started being annually in Chicago through today. So
that's interesting. I can just imagine the guys, like when things started to come around, like deep fryers and refrigeration and all that stuff. It must have been like super cool to see how that was introduced into the restaurant space.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, we when we were doing our 100th show back in 2019, we tried to do a little bit of research, because we had this campaign that's like, if it's a thing, it started here, right? If it's a thing in the restaurant industry, it started at our show. Right. And there's all sorts of rumors that probably aren't true about different products that have changed the face of the restaurant industry Like I don't know, like the powder that McDonald's uses for their milkshakes was like first introduced at the restaurant show, right? And I believe that to be true, but I don't have the actual proof on that one. So no one needs to fact check me on it. But it's, I truly believe it's like one of those events where, a lot of times, our attendees don't even know that they might be interested in a product or they might need it for their business. And they just sort of see it while they're walking up and down the aisles. And they're like, wow, that's really tasty. And I could use that in this way at my restaurant, or, an additive product. And that all just a lot of times happens by happenstance. And so it's cool to kind of see that history over the years and see it, not only in some of the archive materials that we have, but just in the stories that people tell and, the different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's was my takeaway from it. Like when I had first gone, I think my first show was like 2006 or so, and was, you're so head down in your business. Like I was independent. We had one location at a time. You're so focused on getting all the right stuff. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. Like, oh my God, I can't see all this new stuff. But that's exactly what you have to do. You have to go out there and share, especially now, like just since 2006 till now, there's been so many advancements in packaging, in products, in frozen food quality, in technology and things like that. How do you guys suggest somebody comes to the restaurant show for the first time and tackle this?
Yeah, I think the thing that most people that come for the first time don't realize is that it does take a little bit of pre-planning because I think a lot of times people don't plan to spend enough time there, right? Our show lasts for 4 days, but most people probably spend about 2.5 to maybe 3 days there, depending on the time they feel like they can spend away from their business. And there's plenty of people that are like, I can only go this one day, right? To your point, I'm heads down to my business. I can't leave for longer than that. And so when you only have one day to get through what could be potentially over 11 football fields worth of space at McCormick Place, you really have to go in with a plan. So we have a tool on our website called the Show to Go, which is really a planning tool where you can say, okay, I'm interested in, ovens, refrigerators, plant-based foods, like all the things I'm sort of looking for. And you can map out your plan there, right? So, I'm going to start over in the Lakeside building because that's where a lot of the new food companies end up being, like a lot of the kind of new, never before seen products that perhaps the company that's manufacturing those, it's the only thing they make, right? It's like, I've kind of invented this new flavor of ice cream and, I'm going to buy a booth at the restaurant show that tends to be over in the Lakeside building. And then maybe, that I come over to the North building because I want to see some things happening in technology or tableware. And then over in the South building, we've got tons of equipment, our organic and natural food area, and there's stuff everywhere, but you kind of have to like map it out because otherwise it's like there's too much to see. So I always tell people I try to like give the advice, like you make a plan and you kind of do your first pass with the plan, but you should leave enough time to just also walk around. Because as you're walking up and down the aisles, you might just have something that catches your eye that you just want to taste. Absolutely. And then you start having that conversation with the manufacturer, or maybe it's not food. Maybe it's, we've got like umbrella manufacturers, right? And you're like, oh my God, that's the coolest looking umbrella. And I need that for my patio service, right? And I've been looking for this amazing umbrella. And you just got to kind of keep your eyes open and really try to visit the whole show as best you can, even if you only have the one day, which I realize is hard. So wear good shoes. Yeah. We have to wear, more like business wear as show management, but so I have my black tennis shoes that I wear with my suits, which is a really great look, I realize, but it's, you got to do what you got to do.
It's not for fashion, it's for function. This is strictly, we're not looking for, we're not going to walk the runway here. Yeah. I'll tell you, I made the mistake. It's so funny. You're going to laugh at this. I was like, I'm in Chicago I was there for something. And then I was like, I'm just going to stop by and walk the floor. And when I got there, I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. So I told people, I'm like, it's like Epcot. Like, you got to plan this before you go. And like, to what you're saying, even when you plan it, you're going to stumble upon something else. And I wouldn't, as we've kind of gotten into this since our previous call, and I think I maybe have mentioned it, the map functionality on the website is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think that the ability to, guys, my suggestion, look at what's there. It's a lot. And then what Lisa is saying here is exactly right. Don't just think you're going to walk in the floor. You're not going to get really what you're there after. I would even suggest maybe even trying to make individual meetings.
Yeah.
And you can
do that through the app as well, and make individual meetings with the exhibitor. And I think what's nice is that that's also a place you can make notes about different things that you've seen. Because we've had people call the office after the show and be like, "Oh, I was over in the North Building, and I was talking to the exhibitor." They're trying to just like sort of describe what they've seen, and every once in a while we can help them, but it's hard when you have 2,400 companies or so exhibiting in the show. You can't, I don't know every product that every single one of our exhibitors has. So it's a really handy tool to be able to make notes so that when you get back to your business, you can remember who you saw, right? And you can take pictures with it and different things. So it's a really great tool in that sense. And you can save it to you can create an account and save it. And so you can like email yourself things. So it's pretty handy. I know sometimes people don't always love downloading another app to their phone, but I really honestly I think even if you just do it temporarily while you're at the show, it's a kind of an invaluable tool to help you make the most of your experience and to just simply get around.
Yeah, and the recall. I mean, for that alone, like you're going to be, what was the name of that guy? He had the napkins. Yeah. So plan it out. That's the lesson there. Download the app, plan it out, reach out, make appointments. That's a great tip. Now talk about, I get some pretty impressive keynotes here and some celebrity chefs.
Really excited about our keynote session this year. So Michelle Korsmo, who's the CEO of the National Restaurant Association, is going to be moderating a conversation with Danny Meyer and Pinky Cole. I think both restaurateurs have such different background. I mean, Danny Meyer is obviously one of the, legends in the industry, with Shake Shack and all of his other, companies and restaurants that he's been a part of. And Pinky Cole owns Slutty Vegan, which is a really fast growing chain out of Atlanta area. And they've actually collaborated on some projects and some menu items at Shake Shack. So a vegan item at Shake Shack that Pinky helped put together. And so I think it's going to be just a really great discussion about different things that are happening in the industry, but ultimately, I think there's going to be a lot of focus on why building great teams at your companies and at your restaurants is the path forward for us all, right? And being great team members, by being great managers, by being, together in the process and making sure that you're listening to your team members and how you kind of move forward on things. And so I'm really looking forward to their discussion. I think people are going to take a lot away from it in terms of, what can I apply to my business, and maybe also do some introspective, thought about maybe what I can do better to help build teams. And make sure that my restaurant's a place somebody wants to come and work at.
Yeah, that's talk about it a lot on the show. We've talked about it on some other shows, is that feedback loop. Like, are you constantly talking to your staff, talking to your guests, getting that information? And in that education realm, I think you really have got to, after you've made your appointments, after you've kind of seen what you want to see on the product side, I think the education, especially with Danny Meyer and Pinky Cole there, I mean, those are two top of their game restaurant operators. We're both, like you said, independent thoughts, but really coming from the same place. And it's going to be interesting to see that conversation unfold in real time. So other than them, there's some other workshops
absolutely.
And things like that, right?
All of our education, about most of the education takes place in theaters on our show floor. So we've got an education theater in each one of our halls, and that's all included with your badge to the show. And so in our South building, we've got our Education Super Center, and that really holds a variety of panels kind of across all of our education tracks. So we do education that are in culinary insights, marketing manager, marketing matters, off-premise operations, technology. We have an adult beverage stage. So we've got just probably about 7 different tracks or 8 different tracks of education that you can kind of go through. Same app in the Show to Go. You can go through and see what types of topics make sense to you. So in the South Building, we have our Education Super Center. In the North, we've got an Innovation Theater, which is all type of innovation related topics. In our Lakeside Center, we've got the Culinary Experience, which is where we have our celebrated chef demos as well as culinary and menu topics. And then in our beverage room stage, we've got everything kind of adult beverage. So we've got demos going on in there, as well as sessions about bar inventory management and different technologies and things that affect the bar. So really, there's something kind of for every area of your business, whether it's marketing or finance or different things. So it's a pretty robust education program as well. That's all included with your badge. And then on top of that, if you're looking for some deep dive education, we have our workshops this year, and we've got 3 workshops happening. That isn't a little bit of an extra charge to your badge, but that is like small group, deep down, down and dirty education in our classrooms that take place right before the show starts on the first 3 days of the show. So we've got one on menu optimization, one on funding your restaurant business's growth, which I know is a really important topic. I listened to a couple episodes that you did that talked about funding and different things, and then a branding and digital media boot camp, which for a lot of independent restaurateurs who maybe don't have a dedicated marketing person, sometimes that branding and digital media is something that's not as easy as you may think it might be, and so really kind of a deep dive into that as well. And then we've also partnered with the National Restaurant Association on a 4th workshop, which is the Serve Success Leadership Workshop. And they've got a Serve Success management kind of certification process that they go through that's got, really kind of great education for some of your managers on your team that you're trying to help, bring up to the next level in your business. So, great leader workshop opportunities there as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this here, and the way that you have it laid out is great. It has culinary insights, marketing matters, off-premise, operation solutions, technology strategies, adult beverage wellness, and workforce recruitment and retention. And you got 37, 36, 22, 51 sessions. This is that's a lot. You got a lot going on there. So this, to me, seems like something you better map it out and plan out your day.
Exactly. And what's nice is in the Show to Go app, you can plan out your schedule that way. And so it's like, if that you're going to be going to an education session that's taking place at our Education Super Center in the South Building, then you may say, okay, well, when that session's over, I'm going to go make sure that I visit the Kitchen Innovations showroom where we have all the innovative award-winning equipment this year. And, you can kind of maximize your time that way too, which I think is nice because it's, like we've talked about, it's just a far walk from place to place. So, the most you could, do for that pre-planning is always good.
Yes. Yeah. Plan for the commute in your comfy shoes. Yeah, for sure. So we talked about the products, we talked about the workshops, we talked about the keynotes. What are you most excited about for the show? What are you? You've been involved for so long. You have so much excitement around it already. But there's got to be something new. That
this year I'm actually really excited for our FABI Awards this year. So FABI is our Food and Beverage Awards. We have a panel of independent judges that vet all the applications that we receive. And one thing that I really love about our awards programs is the judges review each application on its own merit. So it's we try to call them awardees because they're not winning over somebody else. They're just being awarded an award because they deserve it, right? And so these food and beverage products are all products that our judges believe are sort of game changers for the business. And this year, we've got a record number of award recipients. So we've got 42 products that have been awarded, which is great. And we rolled out a thing called Fabby Favorites. So out of those 42, we've got a number of them that the judges said, but these are the best of the best. And so we're doing kind of a series to highlight those Fabby favorites. So over at our culinary experience stage, our Fabby judges are going to be doing some education sessions where there'll be a demo with some of the Fabby favorite products. They can talk about why they're,
really cool.
Why they were such a great product that the judges felt that they deserved the award. And I always kind of get jazzed when I talk to the judges, because we don't really participate in the judging process, right? Like I said, it's an independent panel, but we do have a team who facilitates the judges and takes notes and keeps everything on track. And I have the honor of participating in some of those calls, and it's great to hear from their perspective how these products are going to change the business. And the one I had the most fun with was, and mostly because from a consumer, it's like I didn't really understand all this, is that there's a bottle of nonstick cooking spray that is one of our award recipients this year that I promise you every judge was like, this is amazing, because the packaging, and I'm not going to get it totally right, but the way you're able to disassemble the cooking spray after it's finished will allow for the can to be recycled in different things, which was really great for companies that are very cognizant of sustainability and different things like that. And so they were just super excited about this cooking spray. And I was like, and I get excited on these calls with them. I'm like, yes, I love this cooking spray. And where can I get it for my house? That sort of thing. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at some of these now. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. You guys should definitely go to the website and take a look. But some of them are so, like, I never would think that this would be available. And up to that, I mean, here's just one. I'll say plant-based Korean barbecue. Like, we've gotten to that point where now it's not just plant-based, do something with it, So there's some really cool stuff on here. I see the spray. You've got some truffle honey stuff. I mean, it looks really, really cool. I mean, look, to me, just looking at this is, pourable plant milk mozzarella.
Right.
Like, there's some products here, guys, without a doubt, that you are probably going to want to go and see how you can implement in your restaurant. So go with an open mind and check all this stuff out. I think that's fantastic.
One time, if you do only have a short period of time to attend the show and you're looking for new food products, using the Fabby list is a really great way to sort of focus yourself at the show, right? Because these are already pre-vetted products that other peers in the industry have said these are important products for you to be able to go see, right? And so, like the plant-based tuna fillet that was a award recipient from Current Foods, you had all these judges saying, no, this actually tastes like a tuna fillet. Like, you got to check this out. And so that's a nice stamp of approval, and it kind of makes it easier on the attendee, right, to be able to focus themselves on certain products that they got to see when they're there.
Yeah, you got to hone it. You got to rein it all in somehow. So that's a great point. So now, like I asked you before about how people are going to, how should they attack the show, but what is something that you wish people knew about this that they like? What's something that aside from the tangible stuff, but like, what are some takeaways other than that you really feel like people maybe are missing out or want to let them know why they should be attending?
I think what we've heard over the years from people that either don't attend or sometimes people that have come in the past is, I don't need to go to the restaurant show because, I already know what products are out there because I have a great relationship with my distributor, or I already have, everything I need. I don't need to go to the restaurant show. Or if you've come multiple times, you think, well, I don't need to go this year because I went last year and I don't, nothing's going to be new. And I think that is just I think people don't realize how much new happens every single year. And, for example, last year, and we haven't done the analysis yet this year, but I imagine it to be the same. Last year, we had over 500 exhibitors who had never exhibited at the restaurant show before. And so it is likely similar this year. I mean, that's the type of change we have every year. And so you will be exposed to new things, even if you come every year, right? And I think people think, oh, it's in Chicago, it doesn't change, but it's just not true. Like we have new offerings that we produce as a show management, but really, I mean, when you look at what's happening on our trade show floor and the types of innovations that our exhibitors are producing and sort of these game-changing products for our attendees and operators, it's just, it's something you just really can't afford to miss, I think, in terms of making sure you move your business forward. And we were always talking about like this because I think, the restaurant industry, obviously, and broader hospitality went through a real tough time through COVID. And sometimes you don't like to talk about it because you thought, well, let's focus on the positive. But I was saying in a meeting recently, I was like, but the thing is, while maybe, we've moved past some of those type of issues, the world isn't less complicated, right? Like there's new things that pop up every day that when you're in the hospitality business, because it's a people-facing business, you have to deal with those things, right? And whether it's, learning to help your workforce and the recruitment and retention of your team members, or if it's, a new foodborne illness that we all need to be aware of, or if it's a new trend, in plant-based that people want, or the, most game-changing, fastest oven you've ever heard of, we've really got it all. And sometimes I think people don't realize that it's about keeping yourself educated on what's out there so that you're ready to be able to handle whatever comes your way. And that's what we hope we provide to the operators that attend. And I think if you're not attending, you might be missing out there on some real opportunity to make sure that you're prepared as best you can at all times for growing your business.
I agree, because I after the pandemic and all that stuff happened, the restaurants that survived and thrived adapted their model one way or the other. And I think moving forward,
yes.
Hopefully we're not going to deal with that again, but adaptability and, having the open-mindedness to say, maybe this isn't working for me. At least when you go to the show, you're going to have something to fall back on. Like, oh, I don't think this is working for me,
exactly.
But I did see this at the show. I don't think that this works for me, but I did talk to that guy. So let me reach back out to him and see if he can help coach us or whatever. So yeah, you have
absolutely.
To get out there. And I think that's the name of it.
I was thinking about this the other night. I mean, you watch the news, and in every state, there's all like new regulations, right? New different types of packaging laws or laws around, gas ovens or different things. And so, making sure that you're prepared for being able to pivot and, keep your business running when faced with new regulations is also a really kind of important piece. And I think that making sure that you are as prepared as possible. I feel like I'm a little bit on repeat, but I truly believe it. I mean, the other piece, and I was thinking about this, if I put myself in, the seat of someone trying to decide whether they want to come or not. I always think, God, the other piece that I think we don't talk about enough is that it's actually just really fun, right? It's really fun to go to the restaurant show and to remind yourself about why you're in this business and why you love it so much. And I had the opportunity to go to an event at Bronzeville Winery a couple of weeks ago here in the Chicago area, and I was talking to the team there that owns the restaurant and the winery, and they were just swapping stories about the first time they went to the restaurant show and the first time they had the opportunity, and it brought such joy to their faces, and you could just really tell how much they loved the restaurant industry, and the restaurant show is a part of that. And I think the networking and the camaraderie of people who are in this industry and being able to gather together is more important than ever. And we always kind of forget to talk about the fun, but it's really fun to go as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of Chicago restaurants.
But make your reservations now. It is hard to get a reservation if you haven't done it.
Oh, is it
I
too
don't.
late? Is it too late?
It's not
today?
too late if
We're
you're
gonna
willing to
tighten here.
eat pretty early in the day, but or late.
That might be worth it. I will refrain from naming the place that I want to go, just in case anybody jumps on the reservations, probably before me. So, but I will be talking about one of my favorite places to go when I'm in Chicago. All right. So what did we miss? What did we touch on everything? Have we painted a clear picture of what people are supposed to do here?
Okay. I'm just so excited. I think last year, like I said, felt like a big reunion after not having the show for a couple years. But I think this year will feel the same, truthfully, that we'll just, all those people that haven't had a chance to gather in person together as the broader hospitality industry will be here in Chicago, May 20th to the 23rd. And I was told the other day, and I could not believe that I didn't realize this already, but it's probably the only time it's ever going to be this easy to remember the show dates, because it's May 20th through the 23rd, 2023. And I've been working on this show all year long, for 15 years, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. easy to remember.
There you go. Forget the dates. Yeah, that's easy to remember. We will have a link in the show notes where you guys can save some money on the price of your ticket. So that will be there, effective today. This episode is airing on April 5th, so that is plenty of time for you to use that link and get in there. Download the app. Check out the website. We had a call prior to this, and I was on the website just to check the scope of this. You're going to learn a lot. And I think you have, some time to do your homework, set up your meetings, download the app. And, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been there in a while. We're going to be on site, walking around, doing our thing. And I got to map my own stuff. I got to take my own advice here. So,
absolutely.
Thank you for the time. I look forward to seeing you.
Oh, well, yeah.
You'll be
You'll
busy.
see me. I'll be running around, talking to the security guards or doing whatever I do on site. So.
That's great. All right, guys, May 20th to the 23rd, McCormick Place, Chicago, Illinois, National Restaurant Association show. Link in the bio for more tickets, and I'll see you guys there.